Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We'll get started with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center right there at Baldwin Road and Highway 77. I hate to give this weather report, folks, but it's rainy. We're in this pattern here. What has happened, that front sort of came through. We got a lot of rain from it over the weekend, and then basically it's backing back up. I know you've seen it on the other weather channels and all, but it's like 70-80% chance of rain today and tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get some kind of glimpse of sunshine somewhere in there. I'm just as disappointed as you are with this weather, because this is always, our vacation is always the first week or two of July, and we picked out we didn't have good luck this year, but we're going to work around it and have a big crowd coming in for our cookouts and all, but we may not have very many scallops. We're famous for having a lot of scallops for our cookouts, so we may not have very many this year. But anyway, it's only going to get up to about mid-80s today, 85, and low's going to be 75. So it's just going to be a little bit cool, especially for July 4th, because they're usually just steaming. Water temperature remains at 85 degrees, so that's good right there. Now, people are already asking about the seaweed and jellyfish. Right now, they have not come in, so it's still good swimming all out there. It's a good situation for taking kids out and everything now, but when the seaweed and jellyfish start coming in, we'll certainly let y'all know. All right, the tides. Take a look at our tides by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Their motto is where caring counts. Today is July the 3rd, and we're looking at a high tide at 6:26 this morning, and it's going to start flowing out, and it'll be low tide tonight at 5:32, and good tides for the rest of this 4th of July weekend. So good situation there. Marine forecast is coming out of southeast, where that wind and rain is all coming out of that direction. Southeast about 11 miles per hour. All right, that takes care of our weather. We'll take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I'm Rick Corley. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
We were sitting here talking. I'm excited for you because your company, starting way back with that, has reached a milestone.
Yes, sir.
In your business. So let's
Today we will do our 18,000th survey.
That is one of
Dad started June 1st, 1954, and here it is in July, almost exactly. To the date.
And I was asking him, I said, how many did your dad do and how many did you do? So,
well, Dad did 12,121 of them. Well, and that's the most anybody will ever do and has ever done. And he was the oldest, longest practicing, most prolific marine surveyor in the world.
So you've done about 6,000, about half.
Yeah, I'm coming up on 6,000.
But now it's a little more involved now.
It is. The other thing is, Dad, back when they started, they had no formats or anything. A lot of times they go aboard a ship and they go through and they find the things that are wrong, and they made a gig list, and then he signed at the bottom and handed it to the captain. That was what was wrong. That was a survey. Yeah. And of course the lawyers got the game, and now that same form, or where he would have 4 pages of things that were wrong, now you got to write everything on that ship. What's right, what's wrong, and what needs to be fixed. Yeah. And it takes about 42 pages to do that same ship.
It was interesting. I didn't realize that you actually got started yourself right there when Hurricane Camille came through, and of course that was a major, massive damage.
It was,
and you of course got your feet wet in that storm.
Yep, Dad said, "Come on over here." He says, "You can do this," and I got over there, and he says, "You ain't gonna have but 5 surveys." And I thought, well, that ain't too many, He'll probably be there 6 weeks, so if I ain't got but 5, I'm gonna be all right. I didn't know they were the biggest surveys in the whole business, but I got over there. I had 3 big ships sitting up there, and he says, "I want you to go through and see what we got to do to them." And I had 1 tug and a seagoing barge, and then another tug and a seagoing barge. In fact, one of them was sitting across Highway 90 over there, and it became a gift shop. That's another story at another time I'll have to tell you about. Yeah. But we wound up cutting up 2 of those ships, and we dredged out from one of them and slid it back. We got one of the tugs we sold to a guy and he made it a gift shop. right there, the Tug Camille
Yeah.
gift shop on Highway 90. And the barge, we got it back in the water thanks to H.G. Harder. And then the other one, never did, we found the barge and it had to be cut up. But the tug, we just stripped it and left it. There's a big tug sitting up there north of Bay St. Louis. And I always wanted to go back when they're hunting season and see these hunters walk out into this pine thicket and see this 167-foot tug sitting up there and say, George, I don't know what we was drinking last night at their campfire, but I don't want any more. He said, do you see a boat over there?
Well, I know that's something to be proud of for your whole company and all, but I know, like I say, back then, especially Camille, that was a legendary storm. And
It was
but you got an
amazing.
eyewitness to see
Yeah.
all of that. And
One of the things that I thought was fascinating about it, when we got over there, Dad, that was back when CBs were pretty big.
yeah,
And so we had CBs in the car. And I found out why. They took all the taxi drivers from that area and made them dispatchers for us because the street signs were gone.
yeah,
You didn't know where you were at. You'd be driving, and there was no landmarks, and a lot of them were just blown away.
yeah.
So if you found a street sign, you'd tell this taxi driver where you were at, and he'd tell you, go 3 blocks this way and 2 blocks that way or whatever, and it'll be on your right, or it should be on your right, you know. And that's how we got around.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, we don't have many eyewitnesses to Camille and all, but I know I've talked to people. I know the Davis brothers had the Queen.
Yeah, Rover was on the Queen of Queens over
Queen
there.
of Queens over there, and that's
No, it was Gemini Queen.
Gemini Queen. Yeah, Gemini, because that was the first
That's right.
catamaran.
That was their first
in
catamaran.
the Gulf, and I got their story about how they tried to save that boat, and that before the storm got there.
Yep.
And I wrote about that story in my book, and it's a fascinating story.
I asked Grover if you want to do that next time. She no.
I mean, they, back then, they really thought they could back that thing down from the waves, and they could have, but fortunately, the storm slammed that roof down on
Yep.
them and got that big old iron rod wrapped. And you know the story, of course.
Yep.
And what happened? They could not back it out. He said that probably saved their lives because if they'd gotten out into the bay and all, that would have blown them up. Well, you see the force
It'd
of
been
it
yeah,
blown
it'd
up
been
everybody.
somewhere. It blew a 167-foot tug, 11.5 miles from where it was.
That's amazing. And before Duck Davis passed away, I had a great interview with him, and sitting in the same room was Joe Ed, Grover, and Duck, and the guy that built the boat. Anyway, they were all over there, and he had the rod, the actual iron rod that had wrapped around the prop there. And
That's another story, but you know that Duck Davis was the only recognized naval architect in the whole country that didn't have a
they
degree.
did not have a degree. That's amazing.
And
yeah.
he was absolutely phenomenal. He could build a boat now.
It was
design
a Kovacevic family.
That's
that
correct.
built the,
That's
Queen
exactly
fleet.
right.
But yeah, Doug Davis was literally talking about legends when boat building.
Yes, he was.
All along the Gulf Coast. And he, like I said, didn't have a degree, but he went ahead and they recognized him. The national.
Yes, they did. That whole family, though, is an amazing family.
It really
Captain
is.
George did a good job with all those boys, and I remember him coming to our shipyard and hauling out, and he always had time to play a little ball with me when I was a little kid.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's take this break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Sitting here with Captain Rick Corley. But first, let's go over, before we get into some of this other surveying, let's go over some pictures been sent in the last couple of days, yesterday really. Check out this first one. Our good friend Mark Coward. Listen, Mark said, hey, Michael and I were fishing Sunday afternoon, and I caught this 25-inch trout on a mirror lure top pup junior, okay, a mirror lure top pup junior. Michael caught a 21-inch trout, and we caught 3 more than 15 inches. Good job, Mark Coward.
That's a fine fish.
One of the members of the Panhandle Outdoors team. Good job there. Now, I just brought this in here because I know Rick would appreciate it this morning. I named my dog 5 Miles, so I can tell people I walk 5 miles every day. You got it?
I love it.
All right. Take this next picture here. Grouper season has opened. One of the local attorneys, Jason White. I think he must have skipped work, according to his partner. He just skipped work that day and went fishing. Good job, Jason. All right. People wonder about these little turtle eggs. This is basically what they do. It's an excellent painting, and eggs and all, where they just pop up in here and they crawl to sea. They've been doing that for many, many years. They've done it even before we had these motels, and they're still doing it now. So,
You know, the last time I went out, I saw 5 turtles
Yeah.
in one day, and I've never seen that.
That's
So
cool. They're doing really good, really good. Now this next picture, I love this picture. You think this is way off somewhere, folks? This is Deer Point Lake. After these rains we've had in the afternoon, somebody was up there and snapped this picture. And thank you so much for sending it to us. This is a great job right here. Deer Point Lake, the northern part of Deer Point Lake. And another reason why you want to get rid of these wild hogs, they say they're bad on the fawn, on the yearling and all. So that was a night camera. Okay, check out 2 things notice about this. 3, first of all, I got a couple of girls fishing. We'd love to see that. Second thing, those rods bending. And the third thing, that weather coming in. On this near side, this is April Kimmel. April now, a PA. She's excellent. She loves the outdoors, and she was in my class 4 or 5 years ago. And that rod bending, that's exciting just seeing that. But you got to watch out for this weather now. If you get a big boat, you can sort of run away from it. You know, you don't have a big boat, you're going to have trouble. All right, a couple pictures to get started. I appreciate y'all sending them. I got some more too. We'll show you a little bit later. Now, we're talking about NAMs, and we use the word NAMs and SAMs and all.
Right.
What exactly does that mean, Rick?
Well, NAMS is the oldest. That's the National Association of Marine Surveyors, and because they went international, they changed their names to NAMS. NAMS Global, and it's the National Association of Marine Surveyors. It was started in '61. My father and 11 other surveyors got together, and they met up in New York, and they started laying the groundwork for it. They started testing surveyors to make them certified in 1968. In 1986, Society of Accredited Marine Surveyors came along, and I joined, and it was, you know, it moved on up from there. And of course, they accredit their surveyors, but they're basically the same. They require 5 years of experience in each field that you go in. You have to test with a test grade of 90% or better, and it is a closed book test, and it's not an easy one, I promise you. I have guys that have been, you know, going to sea for 25, 30 years, think, oh, I'll just jump in there and take it and be a surveyor, and they come back and they got the tail between their legs because they realize, I was a good captain, but I don't know about surveying, and they went back and had to study. And of course, occasionally you get one that it lets all the winds out of his sail, and he just quits. He just won't try. And I never have understood that, because nobody knows everything. And if you don't pass it the first time, you go back and take the test again. You'll get it if you keep being persistent.
And that happens so many vocations too. A lot of people, bar exam, teacher exam, all kinds of it. Just keep taking until you pass it.
Yeah. I had to take my all lines adjusters test twice. The first time I got close, and that made me mad. And then I went back and I passed it. But I knew people that have taken that thing 5 times before they passed it. It's tough. But these are good organizations. They establish criteria that you have to learn and things that you have to meet in order to be a surveyor. Everybody thinks, oh man, you know, ain't nothing to be a surveyor, you know, but there's more to it than meets the eye.
And we were talking too, you got a couple of surveys a day. One of them's a houseboat, and one of them.
And I got a 22-footer right after that. I got a houseboat to do in Destin this morning, and it's about 30, 35, something like that. It's custom built, and there's where my experience comes in, because there is no book to go to. This guy built it in his backyard.
Everybody wants to customize it to their, but sometimes they leave. And I can see where that could be a problem.
That can be a problem, because some people know what they're doing, and some they ain't got a clue.
I got some buddies with houseboats on the river now. You don't have to just check them out, do you?
I
don't think they would
Well,
pass.
if they insure them, a lot of times the insurance company. I had a fellow call me the other day, and he says, I got a bass boat, and they're wanting a survey on it. I says, how old's the boat? He told me, I says, I can tell you why they want it. It's old. And they want to know you're maintaining it and you're taking care of it. And they don't want to insure it if you're not. And I don't blame the insurance company, you know. He said, well, what's that going to cost? And I said, well, the minimum is $250. You know, here's the thing they don't understand. I take all the liability on that thing when I do a survey. Anybody that touches that boat, up to 3 years later, if there's somebody dies on that boat, I promise you, your lawyer's going to be talking to you. Well, it's expensive to talk to lawyers, you know, and you take on that liability that they want to know, did you do everything you were supposed to do? Because they're hunting somebody to nail it on, You know, that's the one thing I don't like about the way our laws are set up. It's never the idiot's fault that he did something wrong. It's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Well, no, sometimes it's his.
Well, and another thing too, on these small boats, a lot of times people do take care of them, but a lot of times there's little things wrong, they don't even know what's wrong.
That's right.
And
Well, and it's human nature. Sometimes you know how to make it work. So you're a little bit complacent.
Yeah.
Oh, I can make it work.
Yeah.
And you don't realize, but there's a problem there, and it's not going to fix itself. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
And it can be something that'll sink the boat.
And plus, that $250 could be well spent because of money you can save on good insurance premiums. Also.
Absolutely.
That is,
over the time,
good.
you will come out ahead.
Yeah.
And I had a young lady took a class, safe boating class, when I was teaching those. Mm-hmm. And she asked me one day, she says, should I have a survey done on a brand new boat? I said, sure. She said, why? I said, well, how did it get here? It either was on a truck or it was run on its own bottom in the water here. And did anybody run it aground? Or coming down the road, did a rock fly up and hit something? You know, there's all things. It got from the factory here somehow, and there's things that can happen in between.
Yeah.
Well, one, the dealer will be happier because when the boat goes out, he knows that there's no damage.
Yeah.
Two, the customer's happier because he knows, we had a problem and we fixed it. Well, this particular entity kind of laughed at her. Says, well, it's a brand new boat. She says, I still want it surveyed. Well, when I got through, they quit laughing because I had found 6 things wrong.
Oh, man.
And that happens. I mean, people build boats. People make mistakes.
Yeah.
So they fixed those. It was minor, but they fixed them. Well, she went away very happy, and they eventually came back and bought another boat.
Good.
So it's a win-win, and it's not a bad idea to get a disinterested third party in there because I don't care whether they buy the boat or not. Yeah. All I'm doing is speaking for the boat. And that way they know what they got. The dealer knows that, hey, he didn't go out and tear something up and come back and say, oh, this was broke when I got it. So it's a good thing.
We're going to take this next break, and when we come back, I'm going to show you where we can go scalloping tomorrow if the weather permits, without a boat. Okay? All right, welcome back. First segment, let's go ahead and get our fish and game forecast for today. Brought to us by Mark Cowart, Edgewater Beach Realty at 850-832-6000. Okay? And we're trying to find our, okay, good job there. And our times are, I'm doing 2 things one time. Our time is 9:08 to 11:08 this morning. And then this afternoon or late this evening, 9:32 to 11:32. That'll actually be tonight. Now, what we want to do, let's go ahead. People ask me, I've had several emails about work. You can go scalloping tomorrow, this weekend, if you didn't have a boat. And the best way is go ahead and go on through Port St. Joe. Take a ride like going out of State Park. That's 30A. Believe it or not, Gulf County has a 30A also. It's not quite as rich as the 30A you folks have over in Walton County, but they do have a 30A. So you go down there, go past Presnell's Marina. Everybody knows where Presnell's is. And you're going to go a couple of miles, and basically you can see where, okay? And there's a lot of scallops out in this area too. I'm going to zoom it on in. Okay.
That's Presnell right up there.
Right there.
Where that indention is.
See that indention right there? Okay. That's Presnell right in the center of the screen, okay? Right here. And then as you go right down the road right here, you can park right in there, okay? And you walk. I'll tell you what, you're going to see a lot of people parked there. I counted the other afternoon there were 16 vehicles. 16 vehicles right beside the road and just walking out. And they're getting scallops right out there too because I saw somebody walking back with a bag. So just be aware of that. You can go if you want to walk. Another place you can go, keep on going out to the old stump hole. There's a good kayak launching area right there. All right, so either one of those areas would be good.
Make sure you know your limits.
Yeah, we talked about the limits too. The kayak launching area is right by the stump hole. I can show you that right here.
Yep.
It's called the old Lighthouse Bayou. Check this out right here.
Yep.
I'll see the area right there?
Yep.
Okay. Right as you come around the curve, right here in the center of the page, there's a curve. All right, then right there where it says County Road 30B, all right, so I'm going to zoom on in, okay?
Yeah.
Zoom on in, right up in there. and you can drive down and actually launch your kayak right there, and then all that water, and just go straight on out in this area right in here and start scalloping. Okay, there's a channel all out in here. There's a dock up in there, and that's a deep channel. I saw a big shark there the other day. I promise y'all, and Rick could go along with it. Those sharks come up those channels and feed on those flats and come back in those channels. I've seen it over and over again in my lifetime, and I keep seeing it. I've seen 2 times this year. I've had a close encounter already. So when I say close encounter, I was in a boat one time, but the other time I was in the water. So but you can see those fins and all. It's still, I don't care, every time you've seen it, it's still a little spooky.
Yep. I like to carry a big old walking stick where I can poke at him.
You were telling me, get back to boats real quick. Boat business is good.
Yes, it is.
And you're doing a lot of surveys to prove that.
Yep.
But it's a great time to buy a boat.
Yes, it is. Well, the thing is, with the economy the way it is, there are some people that need to get rid of their boats. They're not using them. And the other thing is people that couldn't afford a certain size boat now can, because the prices are down.
Right.
So a lot of people are saying, well, business is okay, so I'm going to go buy me a boat. And others are saying business is terrible and I can't keep this one, so I need to get rid of it. Yeah. So it's happening. But the economy is slightly getting better now, and the boat sales are up.
And that shows right there.
Yes, it does.
Something like boat sales.
Yeah, usually my business is a pretty good indicator of what's going on, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's a funny thing. When the pre-purchases and the C&Vs, the condition and values, are coming up, damages go down. And then when it goes the other way, it goes the other way. And as things get better, you have less damage. People are buying and taking care of it.
I knew things were getting better because I saw a posting the other night. One of my former students, been out of school maybe 3 years, just bought a 21-foot huge redfisher. So I'm thinking if he can afford that, he got a good deal on it.
Yeah, he got a good deal.
And I don't have one of those yet. But listen, we're going to wrap it up again. Rick, thank you so much, buddy.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming on, and congratulations on the 18,000th survey.
Right? Yeah.
Folks, and thank y'all so much for watching.
And 44 years I've been
44 years. Attaboy, still going strong.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for watching the show. Do something good for somebody today, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.